I'm Light, and this is my podcast. And before we get started, turn down your volume because Rob's going to come in blazing loud. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Tracy. How are you?
I don't know what the deal is, but this happens every time, and it takes a few minutes for it to settle down.
Well, it's the only way I can get heard on this podcast.
Oh, wow. This is how we're going to start. All right. I'll put my gloves on. I'm ready. You are super loud, though, so I don't know. And is that fan still going?
Yeah, but I moved it right away.
No. This sounds like it's in my ear.
Oh, I'll have to turn it off. Hang on.
If you begin to suffocate during the podcast, let me know.
What do you do? Have a round of applause for me?
Not what it says.
Right, Your Honour.
Okay.
Your Majesty.
I know. I sound like a total dick. I'm sorry. I just want people to have the most pleasing experience listening to us. So, how are you, Rob?
Me, I'm absolutely amazing, to be quite honest with you. It's, brilliant.
I'm so glad. How am I? I'm good, thank you.
How are you?
Well, I'm great. I was a little sick, and I was down for the count, Rob. Down for the count for a week. Like, so sick. But I still got in some phone calls to you. It's true love. You get paid in love, Rob. I'm telling you.
No. Well, to be quite honest, I've not heard that. We've not actually, said that to me for a while, so I'd actually forgot. But yeah, we do get paid in love.
Yes, we do. You were checking your bank account going, when's this money come? Oh, yeah, it's love. Love. So before we get started, Rob, I'm going to say this. Guess what?
Go on.
Your response is, okay, your response is not what, it's continue.
Continue. Sorry, Your Honour.
We're coming up on a milestone, Rob, and that means I'm going to do a giveaway.
Wow.
And I know, it's exciting news. The fireworks are going off. Now, I just told you what I'm going to do for the giveaway, but it's a secret. I can't tell other people. I have said that it is a box of some sort, and it will have things in it that remind them of the Exit Light channel. And, what more could you want?
What more
it's
could
gonna
you
be
want?
fun. It's gonna be fun. I've been putting thought into this, and I do believe that anybody who wants to win it and is a subscriber and enjoys us is gonna really love this. So I'm gonna I already did a video talking about the giveaway, but I haven't decided how I'm gonna choose the person yet. So I'm going to do another video when we get closer to hitting the 3,000 subscribers. We're very close right now. Oh, almost choked. Do you need me to wait while you fiddle through some papers?
I nearly swore then. Just give your ears a day off.
And so I'm going to do another video, and then I'll let everybody know how we're going to work this out. And I'm excited, and it probably is going to come in pretty close to the 31 days of Halloween, I think, if not a little before. We'll see. Maybe around the same time. And that would be really fun too. I think that'd be exciting. It's not going to be limited to people in the United States. So, in case anybody was wondering, I will ship it out of the country, and I hope you like it. All right. So here's what's happening today, in case you're wondering. Rob and I were talking, and I was telling him a story about something that happened to me that was related to the paranormal. And Rob said, wait a minute, I was referencing it as though he'd heard it. And I was just skipping by real quick. And he said that he'd never heard that before. So I said, you never heard the story about the blah, blah, blah? And he said, no. And I said, well, have you heard the story about yada, yada? And he said, no. And it occurred to me that I told my paranormal experiences that I personally experienced when I first started this channel, which was a long time ago. And so, and I've referenced them occasionally throughout the years to different people, like a member here who hunts ghosts and things like that. And so we've talked about them on podcast and whatnot. And my kids have come on and talked about their paranormal experiences in the places we lived. But I realized that there's so many new people here now who have not heard my paranormal experiences, and they have not heard Rob's paranormal experiences. So we thought, hey, let's talk about them. Let's dig them up, so to speak. Rehash it.
Yeah.
And I know they've aged a little bit and kind of smell bad, but they'll be fine. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk to you guys about some scary paranormal things that have happened to us. Right, Rob?
We certainly are.
Would you like to start off with something that has happened to you?
Yeah, not a problem. But first, are you going to do your little...
Yeah, you should.
Okay, thank you. I'm privileged today. Could you hit the like button, please? And if you're not already subscribed, click that bell, because it's important to get notifications of any new stuff that X is going to put out. And can you also share this video with people? Get the word out there. There you go.
Nice.
We're ready to go. See how smooth that was, Chase?
That was very smooth.
That's your gold standard.
You get paid the big loves.
I'm not saying anything.
I am not either.
Oh, it's me to go in it.
I'd kind of like to rewind that. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
My first one is one that I told Tracy about the other week, actually, and it's not necessarily a paranormal experience that I had, or my sister. Oh, you got to be kidding me!
You're popular.
Sorry about that. I apologise. When I was at primary school, we lived in an old cherished house, and we were coming off from school. My mum and dad were out working or doing whatever they did, I should say. And we had this friend whose name I won't mention. And we told him, me and my sister, that our house was haunted. And we were messing about like kids do, running out like idiots. And me and my sister locked ourselves in one of the bedrooms and left him out on his own. And he was trying to get into the bedroom. And he was banging on the door. He was screaming, and then he started crying. He said, there's something out here that's going to get me. And we just thought it was quite sadistic, really. We were just laughing at him, to be honest. We just didn't think he was being serious. Anyway, he ran out, managed to get out of the house, went on. We only lived across the road, basically. And we forgot all about it. My mum and dad came home, we had our tea. And his mum came over, really annoyed, saying that we purposely scared him, and now he was having nightmares and all sorts of stuff about it. And we don't know what he saw, or it could have just been that he was a madhouse, and I don't know, but he was very, very upset and very shaken, and he never spoke to us again.
Really?
Yeah, we never. In fact, the only time he spoke to me was a few years ago. I came across him on Facebook, and he still remembers it to this day. What?
Really?
Yeah, I said I apologised. I didn't have to. I apologised to him, saying sorry about that incident, and he went, it was okay. It's okay now. But yeah, he still remembers it to this day.
Huh. Interesting. All right. I'll tell you about one of mine, okay?
Yeah.
This is one of my best ones. So, I lived in Arizona, and we had a 2-story house. And my husband and I were in bed, and the doors to the bedroom were like French doors. They both opened, you know. So, one was opened a crack, and about probably not a crack, probably I don't know, 12 inches or so. And my oldest son worked at night, and he would come home, and sometimes sometimes he would get a ride, and he would come home in the middle of the night, and I assumed that that's what this was when it happened. Rob, by the way, I sent you a message on Messenger. There you no. So I turned around and looked at the door, and it was very dark in our room, and the girls have their room upstairs. So they usually had like a nightlight on, and that very let me explain this upstairs. Our bedroom took the back half of the house. Then there was a loft area. And when you walked from the loft area, there was a bathroom and 3 bedrooms in a semicircle. So the girls' bedroom would face out towards the loft, and they had a nightlight. So it was illuminating really lightly somebody standing in my door.
Ooh.
So I saw a tall male man, obviously male man, not a man, not a male man, a tall male standing in the door, built exactly like my son. And so I said his name, which Story, to kind of ask him like, "Hey, what are you doing, standing in the door?" And at the same time, my husband um, had woken up and was kind of like on his side looking at the door, and there was no answer. And then he said, "Jory," because I don't know. For me, I thought, well, maybe he's sleepwalking. And I think my husband must have felt the same thing because he said Jory in a manner to like, hey, you know, and there was nothing. And all of a sudden, now these doors opened into our bedroom. So this door was open into my bedroom. So you have to reach in to pull the door closed. And all of a sudden, the door slams shut so hard that it makes the the whole wall vibrate, and you can hear the doors vibrating. So
How was that? Sorry.
okay, so my husband jumps out of bed, opens the door, runs out. My son had a friend spending the night who was not built like him. He was not tall, and he was had a completely different body shape. He was asleep on the love seat in the loft, and he sat jolted up when the door slammed, and he said, "Where did he go?" And my husband said, "I don't know." And so the two of them went through our house. We had a playroom. We had the girls' room, Jory's room. They looked under the beds, in the closets, um, everywhere upstairs. Then they went downstairs, looked in the bathroom, the kitchen, even the kitchen cupboards. Made sure the doors were locked. They were. Nothing. There was not a person there. But the kid who had been sleeping on the couch, because JD was like, "What did you see?" And he goes, "I felt it. I felt somebody run past me." And so we saw it. He felt it, and we never did find out what it was.
It's crazy.
But my son said that he always saw, my son and my youngest daughter said that he always saw a doppelganger of himself in the house. He would wake up at night and see a doppelganger of himself, or look into a mirror when it was dark and see something standing behind him that looked like him. My youngest daughter said that she saw him once laying on the bed, and it wasn't him. He wasn't home. Um, we would hear breathing coming from his room. We had a computer set up upstairs in the loft, and we would hear breathing coming from his room that sounded like it would come from his room, out of his room, next to the computer, right into your ear, or right into the girls' room, right next to their ears. And he said that for the entire time that we lived there, which was about 10 years, we had the house built. Let me make this clear. We had the house built. Nobody lived there before us. We were the first people there. The land, and this is going to sound so stereotypical, but this land, not first. When we bought it, the previous thing had been an airport, a small little airport where they landed prop planes. What is that?
What was what?
Something like da 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 da.
It wasn't me.
That
It
was.
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It sounded like drumsticks going da 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 da, being clacked on each other.
I haven't got any joysticks in my hands. My hands are. I know you can't see my hands, but my hands are completely
Okay,
free.
that was weird. Um, I lost track. Where was I? Oh, it had been to land crop planes when they would go, spray the pesticides. And before that, which we didn't know at the time, it had been Indian land. And when they built the a neighborhood behind us, because we were the third house built in that neighborhood, and they built one behind us because it was a subdivision. They dug up a whole bunch of Indian clay pots and some burial things and whatnot. So there had been people who had lived on this land, but it hadn't been, you know, modern, or, houses like developments. A development. Thank you. So that's something strange that happened in the house. I have a whole lot more. So go ahead, Rob.
I was when I first came out of the army. I was living with my girlfriend at the time. And every time I was in the bathroom, I don't know if this ever happened to you, Trace, but I would lock the bathroom door. And even when there was no one in the house, and I knew there was no one in the house, I would see something pacing, the shadow. You can tell. You can tell if someone stood outside your door, can't you? Because there's a shadow of them.
Yes.
And I would all the time. And the first few times, I would go creep up to the door, so to try and be quiet, and I would see the shadow there, and I would unlock the door quick and open the door, and there'd be nobody there. I did that 3 or 4 times. In the end, I used to just ignore it. But it's also happened to me when I've been at work. Say I've been in I used to drive not a lorry. I can't say lorry because no one will know what I'm talking about.
Semi-truck.
Yeah. And in the morning, I used to go and use the loo before I set off. And there would be pacing on it. I could see it again. And I knew there was no one in the room. So, and I purposely don't close any door. Obviously, when the girls are here, and all the doors get closed. But for the majority of the time when they're not here, I don't close any doors because I don't want it. I don't want to see it in this house.
You don't close your doors?
Well, obviously, my front door I do.
Yeah, I know, but you don't close the doors in your house?
No, not when I'm on my own. No.
Oh, I do.
Well, no, I don't like that.
I'm scared to look in an empty room.
Oh no, I'd rather see what's. I'd rather see what's there.
Oh, I
You
know.
might
I'm not.
obviously you can get innuendo by what we're talking about. Your mind can play tricks on you if the door's closed. If the door's
Right.
open, then you can see what's there. There's nowhere for someone to hide.
Right. Okay. Well, I get that too. Yeah. All right. I understand that.
But the house that I live in now, well, it's not a house, it's a flat, a ground floor flat. The lady that lived here before me, and I've said this before on podcast, this was the lady's bedroom. And the lady died in the house of old age, which has never bothered me. That sort of thing doesn't creep me out at all. But I have had some weird stuff, haven't I, with my wheelchair and stuff like that. Turn my wheelchair off, then it's on again in the morning, and just weird stuff that's yeah, just weird noises, and I can be sat here. I mean, it happened when the girls have been here. Hear something happening in the kitchen, like things falling, or you go in the kitchen and nothing's moved, or anything like that. And while I'm on the subject of my house, can I tell them about the incident with Grace?
Yeah. And by the way, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah,
I'm living a real life, and in that real life, it includes a son who lives at home, and he's going to be on the computer in the background, and you guys might hear noises, and yeah, that's not a ghost. That's just him. So, just to let you know. All right, go ahead, Rob.
my eldest is 13. A few years ago now, must be 2 years ago, I would have thought, we were just doing I was just filming the girls, just messing about in general and nothing in particular. And what I started to notice on the footage, there was loads and loads and loads of orbs, and it was crazy. And while I could actually be filming on my phone, so obviously you're looking at the screen, you're looking at what you're filming, and I could see the orbs on the screen, but I couldn't see. There was none in the rooms, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But my daughter could tell you where the orbs were. Do you remember, Trace?
Yes, I do remember.
She could point out where
we
they
put
were.
a video up of her doing that.
Yeah, there is a video of she can point. She can see them. She can actually see them. They don't scare her, but she can actually see where they are, and she would point them out exactly where they were on the screen, which was weird. But I can't explain that. But anyway, that's all about my house and other stuff. But so it's over to you, boss.
Okay. I have at least 14 stories written down. Maybe we should do a two-parter of this.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, we could be here all night if we could be here all night. Okay, here's one. I have done a video on this channel about how very, very close friend of mine died at Crater Lake, Oregon. They actually have a list of people who have died in Crater Lake, Oregon, and it's publicized online, and she's on there. And the way she died was that the reason she was there in the first place and not in Washington where we lived was that she was going through a really tumultuous relationship with her husband, and she left him. And she was going to California to stay with her mom. And so she was really upset and depressed, and they were at this point homeless. Even before she left, they were homeless. They were camping. It was during the summer. They were camping because they had lost their house. And I did not know that they had started camping. She had not told anybody that, and she hadn't babysat my child in a few days, and that's how we were close to her, was that she babysat my child. And basically I was a young mother and a single mother, and she basically was a big sister figure to me. And so she was not in a great mental state. She went to Crater Lake to show the kids because it's a huge tourist attraction. I've done a whole series on the hauntings and the strange things that have happened in Crater Lake. People have gone missing. It's a very interesting place. It's beautiful, but when you have a lake made out of a volcano, I think it's a track in where Native Americans lived for centuries. It attracts a certain sort of a feeling around it, Anyway, so she went to go to Crater Lake, and her children were small, and her youngest child stepped over the barrier. I have no idea. We can speculate, but I'm not sure why she stepped over the barrier. But my friend stepped over the barrier to get her little girl. And as she handed her little girl back to her son, this is an interesting part, because legend has it that if you get too close to the edge of the crater, that there are forces in the water that pull you backwards. As she handed her daughter to her son, to save her, she fell backwards and fell 1,500 feet. And they had to leave her until they could get a rescue squad in. So that was very traumatic for everyone, and very traumatic for me. So we decided, my brother's wife, decided that we were going to camp out in my family's backyard. And you guys have heard me talk about my family's backyard about 1,000,000 times, because it was in the forest. We used to dig, holes to trap people in if there was ever somebody, coming to invade us. Things that people who live out in the country do. So we...
Trace,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
I'm a bit confused.
okay,
And I think people from the UK will be a bit confused as well.
okay,
The Crater Lake.
yes,
Now, you said that your friend fell. What
yes.
did she fall into? Into a volcano?
No, yes, basically. Yes, but she didn't fall down into the water, though. It's got trees and stuff growing around the inside of the volcano.
Right.
So she fell down and eventually landed in the treed area, which is what stopped her. But yes, she fell into the volcano.
And is there water in the volcano?
Yes, the lake
Right. Now,
is the middle
right.
of the crater.
Right. I'm sorry. That makes
No,
sense now.
okay, sorry, I wasn't clear about that. Yes, there is a lake in a volcanic crater, and that's what Crater Lake is. So that's where she fell. She fell back, but not into the water, because it's quite a bit down. Anyway, so we pitched a tent and got out a Ouija board, and I was raised, as I've said on this channel 1,000,000 times, very evangelical, and you don't use Ouija boards. So of course I did, and we decided to see if we could contact this friend of mine. So the board, we set it. We put flashlights on the ground in the tent, put the board on our knees, and the I can't think of what the name is. What's the name of the thing that moves the
Planchette.
planchette? The plan. Thank you. The planchette began to move, and it really seemed like it was her. I asked her questions that my brother and his wife wouldn't know, and it answered. She said that she was watching over me, that she was by me, and so we did that, and then it got really, I don't know, it felt really, started to begin to feel really dark. So we stopped and put it away, and that was that. Well, the next morning I got up and I had a burnt handprint on my shoulder. Burned, red, full handprint, palm, every finger on my shoulder. But it was the opposite hand of the shoulder that it was on. So there was no way, and it was facing upwards. Like somebody had stood behind me and put their hand on my shoulder as they were standing next to me.
Yeah.
If I put your right hand on my left shoulder. And it was, I had a string, kind of a tank top on, and it was very, very clear. I was not burned around it. But it was definitely there. And I know that I whatever I had contacted and said that they were standing by me left a handprint on me. And that, to this day, is something that I don't know if it's touching or frightening.
Oh, Canil says, I never knew you'd been on a Ouija board. I'm very surprised.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I never did that again. Never did that again. As a matter of fact, years later, my brother brought a Ouija board into the house. Didn't tell me when I found out. I they didn't throw it away. It came back into the house, and so we burned it. He burned it. I stayed away from it. But yeah, yep, that's one of the reasons I will not buy or play with a Ouija board. I don't think they're toys. I don't understand why it's a Hasbro thing. I do not, but I don't think it's something you mess with.
You can't get them over here.
Really?
Well, we can get them off eBay and stuff like that, but I've
Uh,
never seen them for sale in a shop, especially a toy shop now.
oh, well, yeah, you used to be able to just go into, I don't know, I think you still can go into like a Target, I think, and buy one.
No, man, it scared me to death.
Yeah. So that's my other story. Do you want to tell a story? Oh, you want to comment to me? Tell me what you think.
Seriously, you want me to say what I think?
Uh-huh.
I think you're a bloody idiot.
All right.
Going, no, I can't believe you went on a Ouija board. I can't believe it.
Really?
I'm absolutely, yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to say bloody idiot, but
Yes, you did.
I don't. After, oh, Trace, you can't believe it.
You act like you just feel completely different about me now. That's it. We've broken up. You're hearing it right
No,
now, guys.
no.
Live on our podcast, Rob is speechless.
Do you know when we went through? I don't know if we were going to bring this up as well. It's a paranormal thing that we both shared.
Yes.
Not the demon thing and what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah, I think we should do that sometime separately. Maybe we'll do a 3-parter.
You never told me anything about that.
Do you think that that has caused things to happen in my life?
I don't think it's done. I don't think it's necessarily caused things to happen, but I think that there's 3 things that scare me: Ouija boards, peacock's feathers, which are really, really supposed to be bad luck, and African card masks that you get from Africa. Not these ones that are made to look like they're African card masks. The ones that go in the wall are supposed to be really, really bad luck. And the main one is Ouija boards.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at it from a Catholic point of view. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you something. I obviously was in a stage of grief, and I do believe that a lot of people find their way to Ouija boards, psychics, palm readers, mediums when they're in a stage of grief. I think that's how doors open one way, because you're in a stage of grief and you go to these things hoping that you will talk to the person, right? When in all likelihood, I believe that you're not talking to the person. It's something much darker than that. But if you feel comforted by that, you're more likely to continue that. And I think it's not unusual at all. When my mother died, I went to a palm reader.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I think that it's very common. I mean, it is. Look at every medium ever. Everybody in that audience is wanting to talk to a dead relative. Nobody is wanting to know if they're gonna win the lottery. Not one person. Every person in there wants to talk to a dead relative. They don't want to know what the first name of their firstborn child is going to be and who their husband is going to be. Nobody asks that. Or a psychic. If you're a psychic at a carnival, you're going to head down the direction of, do you have a relative whose name starts or has a J in it? J being a super common letter in the name.
Yeah.
An M. So that it, and whether they came there to find out what their next meal was going to be, you say something like that, they hit on it like that, and then boom, that's what they're wanting to do, talk to a dead relative.
Yeah.
So I think that it's extraordinarily common. Have you broken up with me?
No, and while we're on there, I just want to make it plain that I shouldn't have said you're, whatever I said, you're a lunatic or
Idiot.
idiot. I did not mean that. I was just shocked. It was shocked. Yeah, I'm shocked. I really am, Trace. I'm shocked. Just not in a bad way. Just I'm shocked.
You think that I'm not the kind of person that would ever do something like that?
No, I didn't think you would.
Huh.
That's 100% why I'm shocked.
So my trip to England's canceled now.
No, don't be daft.
There's only a few things in this world that scare me: Ouija boards, peacock feathers, Indian masks, Tracy. All right. Anyway,
Can I do one?
yeah, I'll be over here in the corner with my rosary.
That's just 10 Our Fathers and a Hail Mary.
Oh, okay. I'll get started on that right now.
Right. When I was growing up, I lived in a place called Middleton, which is North Manchester. And I was at primary school. And there was this. Basically what there'd been an old railway line which was not used anymore. So there was a little, what we used to call it, the humpback bridge, and it was like a cut through that we used to use. And there was this big old house that was all boarded up, and it had been boarded up for a long time, as long as we could remember. And it was falling apart basically, and it had this obviously. Everybody said it was haunted, but I think that was more the aesthetics of the actual house than anybody that had ever witnessed anything paranormal. So this day, we wanted to go into this house and try and just see who was the bravest. So anyway, we went one sort of, I think it was evening time. The front door was all boarded up. So we pulled the boards off, and we opened the door, and right in front of the door was a set of stairs. So and it was obviously all dark because the windows were all boarded up and everything.
Is this a true
And
story?
yeah, I've told you about it before.
Oh, okay.
And something came down the stairs, like really, really quickly. And we all basically shit ourselves and ran out. And it wasn't an animal. I don't know if it was the outline of a person because I didn't stay a lot. I mean, I could say, oh yeah, I was brave when I stayed. I didn't. I shit myself. But that was one of the scariest things ever when I was about 8. That could have
You were
happened.
8?
Yeah, something like that. Right.
And you
Why
wonder
is
where
that?
your daughters get their precociousness from.
Oh,
Well,
what do you mean?
it's just like that was pretty brave for an 8-year-old.
I was into all sorts, weren't I? I was a little bit of a bugger.
Okay. I'm gonna tell one more, and then it's gonna be at an hour, and I think maybe we should just do this in parts. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about my house in Arizona again, real quick. It was a daily thing to see shadow figures walking down our stairs. The way our house worked was, you walked in, and we had a living room. You walked through that, and there was a stairway to your right that went up, and I already described upstairs. And then the back was a kitchen, um, a family room, and a bathroom, the laundry room. So when you would sit in the living room to watch TV, we faced, the side of the stairs. You could see somebody walking down the stairs if they were coming downstairs. Well, it was a daily occurrence to see a shadow figure walking down the stairs. To this day, shadow figures they just do not scare me. They're just moving through our world, and they don't they don't they're just there. So we all saw them, and it would come down the stairs sometimes, kind of turn the corner, go back towards where the bathroom was, and it'd be like, did you see it? Yeah, saw it. And that was it. But we all saw it except for my husband, who wasn't a non-believer per se, he says, but I believe he was. Um, but he never saw it, and he would just be like, okay, there's a shadow person. And there was also a little boy, and this little boy has actually followed me for a long, long time. But there was a little boy who would stand on the top of the stairs, and I happened to have a little boy. It's a very young boy at the time. And we would mistake him, the shadow figure, for my son all the time. And he wasn't old enough to be at the top of the stairs by himself. So we would, have the jump scares a lot. Like, hey, oh, no, sorry, it's just you. And, yeah. And so this, like I said, happened all the time. And then one day, my husband was we were watching TV. My husband was sitting on the couch, and you know, it was just like any other day. And he jumped up, started jumping around the room like he had just discovered something amazing, like sliced bread, and he's all excited, like, and cussing at the same time, super nervous and weirded out. And he says, I just saw somebody standing on the stairs. So we're all sitting in the living room, and we're like, yeah, no shit. And but he's like, no, I mean, like, somebody was standing on the stairs, and then they walked, and we were like, yeah. And he just kept like trying to explain this, like, you're not understanding. But of course, we all understood. He wasn't understanding. Duh. So then he started like to believe that we were seeing these little people, yes, these little people, these shadow people. So not long after that, and this is the story I was telling Rob the other day. Our neighbors had moved, and their house was empty, and we were very good friends with these neighbors, and two of their children were our children's age, and they played, and the grandmother lived with them, and you're scratching something. You're scratching a
Sorry, me
microphone.
headphone fell out. Sorry.
Oh, so like I said, we did a lot socially with this family. Anyway, they moved, and a while later, the house sat empty for a decent amount of time, probably. I don't know, maybe a year, or maybe a little bit more. Well, at one point, I got a knock on the door, and I went to the door, and there was a woman standing there, and she told me that she worked for a real estate agency, I should say. And she said, "Can I ask you a strange question?" Which, me being me, I'm like, I'm all up for that. How strange are we getting? Let's go. Let's do this. Can I ask you a strange question? Um,
Yeah.
is this a give and take thing? Should I make coffee? So I was like, yes. Why, of course. And she says, "Have you heard of anything paranormal happening in the house next door?" And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Have you ever heard of did you know the people who live there?" And I said, "Yes, I knew them very well." She said, "Did they ever tell you of anything paranormal happening in that house?" And I said, "No, I have not. But if you have a minute, I have all kinds of stuff to tell you about this house." And I don't know what you're doing, but it's loud.
Okay, I'll fire.
So, okay. So I never saw her again. I don't even know if this woman worked for real estate agents. I have no idea. I I have no idea what she was. But I really, really regret that I didn't like ask her to tell me what she was talking about. What is it? What happened? How do you know? Did they move because of that? Because that's not what we heard. We heard they'd gotten a job in California, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, did they lie to me? Did they not want to tell me? Because I would be the first person to be like, girl, I know what you're talking about. So that was a very interesting experience that happened in that house that I wish I could rewind time and be like, seriously though, what is happening? Give me your information. I'll contact you. You let me know what happened in that house and everything. But so apparently I wasn't the only one.
You sounded very American then, by the way.
At when?
Girl, I'll tell you something.
Girl? I
Girl.
hear you. That's American. That's what Americans sound like.
Well, apparently so.
I guess so. I guess so. And you know what's weird?
What's that?
I'm American.
Oh, well, yeah. What, you was Jewish?
Oh, I could still be American and Jewish.
I know, I don't know why I said Jewish then. I was going
I
to say
don't know either.
Swedish. Sorry if you're Jewish and you listen. I don't know why I just said that completely. I don't know.
I can totally be both. It's so strange. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap this up. We'll come back. I still have like what? Uh 11 stories? Jeez, Louise. And that's just cutting them down.
Yeah, I've got a few more, yeah.
Okay. I've enjoyed this, Rob.
Yep, me too.
If you guys have enjoyed this, please let me know below. And we'll make this up into some segments, and that'll be fun.
Would be nice to hear of your paranormal
Yes.
incidents, if you could leave them in the comments, we can talk about them as well.
Yes, leave them below. And Mark, um, Mr. Our Nomad. No, that's not right.
It is.
Yes,
It's a nomad.
Mr. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing this. You know who you are, Mark. Could you please leave the story down below that you told me that I told you I wanted to put on here, because I can't find it. And I've been looking and looking and looking, and I cannot find it anywhere. So if you could please either link me to the story, or if you could retell it, I'd appreciate that. And all you guys, if you would leave your stories, I would love to um, listen to them, or read them, I should say. And if you would allow me to, I'd love to put a compilation in and tell your stories on a video. So please feel free. Even if you told me it before, go ahead and tell me again. I always love to hear them. So I could do something like that. I kind of like to do that for the 31 Days of Halloween. So you guys can be on my channel, your stories for the 31 Days of Halloween. And I would love that. So please do. All right. Thank you, Rob.
It's been my pleasure, as always.
It's been a pleasure for me too.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
All right, you guys. Thank you for coming. Good night, Rob.
Good night. Bye-bye.